Hey, what's up you guys? I'm Sora, and today we talk about 4 of the most common psychic abilities you probably don't know you have right now. Psychic abilities come in like a lot of different forms and varieties, and it's pretty common for people to think that people with psychic abilities can like tell the future, but in a lot of cases this is rarely how it works. Instead, there are lots of different ways that people with psychic abilities and intuitive gifts can receive information, and chances are that you are at least a little bit psychic. There is actually a part of the brain that scientists have actually labeled as the psychic part of the brain. It's actually smaller than it should be. It's actually the size of a raisin when it should be the size of an eyeball, because we don't know how to tap into that part of our brain. We all have souls and we all have intuition. It can be very hard sometimes to like tap into that like intuition, but sometimes it can be as simple as like a gut feeling, or simply just knowing something's going to happen right before it happens. Though all of us have highly developed psychic abilities, everyone is hardwired with a sixth sense. Rather we know it or not, it's hardwired into our biology, but we just don't know how to tap into that part of ourselves. In fact, it may even date back to prehistoric times, where it would even act involuntarily as an advantage. So the first one is claircognizance. You know what, you can also listen to me as I attempt to pronounce some of these things, but I'm just gonna refer to them as what they translate into. Basically, it translates into as clear knowing. Someone with this clear knowing psychic ability will simply know with certainty that something is going to happen without having any real logical way of knowing. They often get flashes of insight, such as having like a profound feeling that danger is ahead. Like, for example, you might know for certain that you will go have a new job, rather it be a certain period of time, or know that you should take a different route than you normally would and end up avoiding a car accident. The second one is clairvoyance, I think. Yeah, clairvoyance, which translates into clear seeing. Clairvoyance is someone who's able to like see intuitive information visually, and a person may simply see a number or a symbol or a name written on a piece of paper. It doesn't necessarily have to be anything too complex or dramatic, but mainly the ability is that they are receiving information visually through their mind's eyes. For example, you may be able to guess if a coin lands on heads or tails at a rate significantly greater than what would be expected by chance. The next one is clairaudience, which translates into clear hearing. People with clear hearing psychic ability receive information by literally hearing it in their heads. And I know that sounds kind of schizophrenic, like they're hearing voices in their heads, but they often feel as if like the little voice is telling them what they needed to know, kind of like how we can hear our own voices in our heads when we're reading. For example, you may receive information about an unseen event audibly, such as Tuesday you're going to run into an old friend. Number 4 is clairsentiensis, which translates as clear feeling. Those with this clear feeling psychic ability, basically they're really good at sensing other people's emotions, and they'll know when like you're feeling bad, but you don't really want to show that you're feeling not so good. This is one of the most common psychic abilities, as a lot of people can relate to having a strong empathetic connections to other people. They can literally feel the emotions of other people, which is, it's not always a good thing to have, because when the people around them have negative emotions, it can be very physically and spiritually draining. They're often highly aware of when someone around them is lying or being deceptive. For example, someone around you might keep telling you that they're fine when really you can literally feel that they are sad or angry. Psychics and mediums are not the same thing. It's important to like that line between psychics and mediums. Psychics are about receiving information from around them outside of their five senses, where mediums are able to connect with spirits who have passed over. When we hear the word psychic, we often think of someone who claims to be a fortune teller, or someone who claims to be supernatural, or someone who claims to have supernatural abilities that allow them to communicate with deceased relatives. The truth is, we all naturally have psychic abilities. It's not some new age concept. It's a matter of looking at the data of our own human experiences and comparing it with others. Our souls and biology as organisms are hardwired with a sixth sense, and every single person can testify to having at least one instance of experience where they had some supernatural experience with their own psychic abilities. So which of these do you have? Why don't you leave those in the comments, or if you have another psychic ability that I didn't mention, then please comment those too.